Hey, you. Yeah, you. If you're out here doing this, knock it off. What's up, degenerates? It's the disc golf world. I'm Jefferson, and alongside me, as always, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss cheese. Somehow, on our week off, we have had the busiest week so far of the road trip. I'll get to that in a second, though, because I have a bone to pick with some of you disc golf fans out there. First, I would like to encourage everyone to spectate a Pro Tour event near them if they can. But for the love of disc golf Jesus, do not behave like the people I'm about to describe. When you go watch an event, it's not an invitation to participate. No, that's what you do at your $10 local doubles match. Here, you stand behind the line and watch the best in the world play. Swiss and I were at the 6th Annual Presimmon Ridge Retreat, and yes, we will get to the recap in a second, but way too many fans felt obligated to interject their opinion in situations they didn't belong in. You guys do realize when a pro is asking for where their disc went out of bounds, it's not to you, right? It's the people on their card because they have to approve the spot. But for some reason, every fan on 18 felt it was necessary to tell Big Germ his disc went out at the crack. Sounded like the seagulls from Nemo, for Christ's sake. So many people jumped on this opportunity that he had to tell the crowd to calm it down. Now I understand that people may have been happy to see their favorite commentator, so maybe they were just a bit excited. Well then, what's the excuse for those fans with the nerve to ask their favorite pro for an autograph in the middle of the round, leaving the player in a weird spot to take their attention away from competition or deny a fan? Not quite as bad as the fan that feels it's okay to spark up a conversation with the pro. I understand there is this appeal to disc golf, that there is this connection with the professionals, and I agree. There are some great players that do a specifically good job at interacting, but it shouldn't be an expected thing. These disc golfers are playing for serious money, and some, the cash they need to make it to the next tournament. So this is not the time to ask what would be a good mold from a company you know you're not going to buy. Watching professional disc golf is something I think every fan should see in person. I seriously have no idea how I'm going to go back to watching it on TV. But these events are not the opportunity to do whatever you want. These disc golfers are professionals after all, and need to be treated that way if you want this silly little game to be called a sport by the old grumpy guy at the end of the sports bar. So here's a PSA for all you going to spectate an event. Treat it like you're watching at home, and at the end of the event, then do whatever you want, because that's when I stop covering it. Maybe I'm just not used to spectating A-tiers, and the vibes are just different. But it really feels like a situation where nothing happens until something really bad happens and changes everything. So try not to be the guy to ruin it for the rest of us. Swiss and I were welcome to the Persimmon Ridge property this Tuesday, and we've been staying on the property ever since. Big thanks to Kim and Steve, as well as everyone else who has helped us out this week. We went from not knowing what the hell we were going to do this week to filming the FPO coverage with GK on round 1. Then from there, we casually put on a press conference that you can watch in its entirety over on the GK Pro channel. There was no stopping there as the boys continue to put out daily videos, so hopefully you haven't been too annoyed of us yet. If you have, too bad. Here's Swiss with the FPO recap.
The conditions didn't clear up till MPO, and the ladies faced a cloudy, gusty day that ultimately saw the worst scoring over the 3 days. The stage was set for a battle at the top, and instead, we saw a classic Tatar stranglehold on the round, and victory for that matter. Wasn't the best number or even 1,000 rated, but was tops on the day that only saw 3 ladies shoot even or better. And unfortunately, Owen Scoggins wasn't one of those. Tatar led out with 3 straight birdies to start the round, and added an additional birdie 2 holes later to begin the round 4 under through the first 5 holes. Immediately separating from Owen, as the best she could do was par in the same stretch. A 4-stroke lead that would extend all the way through the front 9 saw Owen looking for the door and one for the road on her way to Jonesboro. As for the battle for third, Kona Montgomery extended her lead against Kat Murch after a bogey on 3. Yet with birdies difficult to come by and Maria Oliva and Lisa Fakis scoring early, Kona would have further competition than her card mate. Maria would cut the lead down to 1 after hole 6, with Lisa only a stroke behind that. The back half was as brutal as Castaplast Pro disc lineup, as no relief was coming. Every hole on the back half trended over par with the exception to 15, which averaged exactly par on the day. With Tatar locking down the win and Owen sealing second, especially with the ability to throw relatively safe, the only battle remaining was for third. With that back half, it would come down to who would make the least amount of mistakes. With Lisa and Maria on the same card, they were able to match pars when needed, and a lone birdie on 11 by Maria that only 2 other competitors were able to hit would be the deciding factor in a solo third-place finish. As for the lead card, it was tough to watch, as everyone trended over par in the back half, and everyone in attendance was hoping for better conditions for tomorrow's solar eclipse, as most of us were already looking for the finish of the round. The only thing that remained was the award ceremony that featured a samurai sword and for you chess.com invitational people was already engraved, and a martial arts jacket, as they were one of the sponsor companies of the event. Certainly different, but for an A tier, it plays.
Over on the MPO side, the lead card would disappoint, as Big Germ would come out of the final day shooting clean. Coming into the round on chase card, down by 4 strokes, he played with little stress, starting the front 9 3 down, getting the birdie on the par 5, and then went on a 4-hole stretch for birdie from 13 to 16. He would put himself in great position off the tee on hole 18, looking like he was going to get a tap in to end his round. But instead, the disc would take a different direction, that being down the hill, jumping over the wall and into the OB. As Jern walked up to his lie, the gentleman from the crowd yelled, "There should be 2 boards there," which prompted Jeremy to respond, "I agree." And frankly, I think I do too. Granted, I really don't care all that much, but to me, it feels weird to not be consistent through the entire wall. Didn't matter though, as Jern would find himself 2 strokes above any other player with his hot 8 under for the round, taking down the event and the samurai sword that came with it, which I do have to say is a baller tradition that I hope players come just for the trophy alone. Drew Gibson would start his day with 2 quick birdies in the opening holes. Too bad that hard work would be washed away with an even quicker double bogey on 3. He would secure 9 birdies for the day, but with 4 strokes over par, bringing him down to a 5 under for the round. Although he would touch the lead for a brief moment, Raven Newsom would find himself in 3rd place, which did bump him up 1 spot. He would be 6 under through the first 11 holes, but his momentum would stop from there. Not sure what it was, but I'm going to apologize since that was the moment I showed up. I didn't mean to bring the bad energy. Nicholas Ansela, who's been playing bad disc golf, hey, those are his words, not mine. With the windy day, he would start his round 2 under through the first holes, and after adding 3 more strokes on the back, he would end his round 5 down. Nicholas would find trouble a few times, setting him back for a better finish, but maybe when he starts playing good disc golf again, he'll be just fine. But for now, he'll just have to be okay with jumping up 3 spots into 4th. Rounding out the top 5, we have Luke Sampson, who must be a fan of color with the way his scorecard looks. Starting rough with a bogey and following it up with a double. He would sort of recover, but the entire round would be a roller coaster. Sampson would finish at 1 under, dropping him down 1 spot into 5th place. This being the first A tier I've been to, I think my expectations may have been set too high. But shout out to everyone involved for putting on such a great event, and for making this week as easy as possible for Swiss and I. The disc golf world will return in the future, that's for sure.
Also this weekend, disc golf saw the Collegiate National Championship. The event was being held at Winthrop University for the first time ever. How cool for every one of these players to experience a championship event, to throw at such a historic property with all the history of USDGC. Day 1 was nuts, as the best score turned in was a 3 over by dynamics-backed Emporia State University. However, UNC Charlotte would come on over the next 2 days with a 10 under on day 2 and tie the hot round at the Westminster East Long Course with a 16 under, parring only holes 12 and 14. UNC Charlotte went into the final with a 4-stroke lead over NC State and the University of Cincinnati. For Charlotte, it'd be a disaster of a slow start, going 2 over par on the first 4 holes, losing their lead to both NC State and the University of Cincinnati, as all 3 went into the back half tied. Cincinnati would go to score 3 birdies on holes 11 through 13, giving them a stroke lead over UNC Charlotte, as NC State's bogeys on 12 and 15 knocked them from competition. The Bearcats and the Niners parred their way to hole 18. Charlotte, needing an eagle, first played an initial safe drive, and the second just barely landed OB. Tom Shanley, with a huge skip approach, puts them in deep C2, 70 feet out, only for Glenn Pfister to bury the 70-foot putt to push a playoff, and ended with an easy bird for UNC Charlotte after their drive and UNC unable to hit their own C2 putt to push the playoff. Over in the singles event, Benjamin Zorn's hot round and 3 strokes ahead of the next competitor on the final day was enough for a 1-stroke victory over Ilkin Gore of University of Cincinnati, and Benjamin Wagner of Milligan University took down a solo 3rd.
Now for some weekend quick hitters. Cupcake finds himself stranded in the middle of the water. That's one of the only ways he'll agree to a hooligan sponsorship. Mr. Barella snags an ace with the Macbeth and Hamas Annex. That's okay, I don't have the arm for AB's discs either. Must be a dad's weekend as Mr. Robinson takes a big dub in MP40. Chandler Fry has to take a break from tour to get his tooth pain fixed. We'll miss that smile. Gannon Burr gets lined up by the disc golf barber. Hannah Bloomroos twisted her ankle and can't walk. Looks like a perfect time to start practice putting. Cat Merch had an interesting weekend, and I'll bet it involved whips. Kevin Kiefer III takes down the win over at the Capital City Classic. Vino Makula makes a stop at his favorite. Rebecca Cox rocking the Kona Bridesmaid Mini. Ella Hansen gets some disc golf, skeet, and paintball in. And just in case you want to know what some of your favorite pros did for the eclipse, here you go.
Just to witness it, nothing else. Just to be here and witness it, and I think it's just, we're very fortunate to be in this place, to be so close to totality. So it's fun.
We are gonna try to watch it and try to find those like classes that we can actually watch it, because I feel like they are running out. So we try to find those.
After the round, I would love to go straight to Jonesboro and then maybe try to watch something over there. Maybe try to hang it out some of my friends, and then just watch it.
We're just experiencing out here, hanging out with everyone. I think that's amazing about this property.
And that's everything disc golf you need to know from the weekend. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support the channel while we're on tour. Big shout out to our members over on Patreon and YouTube for being the absolute best degenerates in the game. Oh yeah, and if you want to know what disc golf courses need to stop doing immediately, check out the video right here.